Welcome to Centered Gaming on YouTube. Today I'm covering my initial impression of Dragon Age the Veilguard on everything from its presentation, the gameplay, story, and its controversial social messages. I'll praise it, shame it, and share some insights I suspect few others have. In the 80s, the early Atari 2600 days, except maybe for a page or two in the newspaper's Entertainment Weekly section, there wasn't such a thing as broadly publicized video game previews or reviews. You saw a game advertised on TV, you said, "Oh wow," and either begged your parents to get it for you or you mowed lawns and raked leaves to earn the money, and when you played the game, you and your friends loved it. At least that's the way it was for me and every kid I knew. There was no such thing as a bad video game. No one was out there saying Space Invaders was boring and repetitive. No one was criticizing Pac-Man for being too linear or Missile Command was pixelated. Sure, some games were more fun than others, but none of them were considered bad, and the only criticisms were our parents telling us that the games were a waste of time that kept us from more important things like homework, sports, and getting enough sleep. But not even they could deny that games were fun, and some were so intrigued that they played the games with their kids. When I played Dragon Age Veilguard for the first time, I loved the sound, the visuals, and controls. When I cast a spell that filled the air with dazzling light and destruction, the little kid in me said, "This is super cool." I have, and always will love toasting demons with a fire spell or freezing sword slingers with an ice staff. But after the first 10 hours, the grown-up gamer voice took over and said things like, "I miss the game engine from Dragon Age Inquisition, and why do the characters look so weird? Why is the story so terribly ordinary? And why do I feel like I am being handheld through a tunnel more than the feeling of freely exploring an open world?" And many other similar thoughts that are just too long to list. If you are a hardcore RPG fan or Dragon Age franchise fan, this game is not for you. Many of the systems you're used to using are either oversimplified or absent. You can't switch characters on the fly. You only have 3 party members. Some of the puzzles are so simple you wonder why they even bothered putting them in. But there is a positive side to this. If you've never played a team-driven action role-playing game before, Dragon Age the Veilguard could be just the game for you, as it wows you with its beautiful environments, action-style gameplay, and simplified systems. You'll be like a little kid discovering a new universe to play in, and won't have any complaints at all about any of it. Now, for the elephant in the room. The obvious agenda behind some of the storytelling. I titled this video, "What Mages, Dragons, and Non-Binaries All Have in Common." And here's the answer. Mages, dragons, and the idea that you don't really have a gender are all products of the imagination. The first 2 products of the imagination belong in a fantasy role-playing game. The third item does not. The controversial scene where one character does push-ups to apologize for using the wrong pronoun when referring to her does nothing to further the story. Just from the standpoint of someone that used to write fiction, anyone who writes a novel, screenplay, or even the script for a video game, knows that you stick to the story, and you cut anything out of it that doesn't forward that story. That's creative writing 101. That's common sense. I don't want someone pushing that agenda in my game any more than I want a dragon or a rogue declaring he's a Democrat or a Republican. Because if they did, whether I agreed with their politics or not, this pulls me out of the fantasy world that I am having so much fun exploring, and right back into 21st century America, where people are fighting about social issues and political agendas, something I find not so much fun. So thanks, BioWare, for ruining the illusion. I'm going to close my presentation with a special message to those who are gay, lesbian, or think they are some other gender besides male or female even though their biology tells them otherwise. It is unlawful and wrong for anyone to deny you a job based on your preferences. It's unlawful and wrong for anyone to deny you admission to a university, or even seating in a restaurant. You have the same legal rights as any white, straight, Christian male does in this country, the right to have your own opinions, practice your own religion, and not to be beaten or harassed for your preferences. The hard truth you're going to have to come to grips with is that no matter what you say or do, you cannot make anyone like you, accept you, or respect your ideology. On a personal level, it really doesn't bother me what consenting adults want to do with each other. But this idea that a person decides what gender they are instead of looking between their legs and facing the truth is ludicrous. And it's bad enough that people are out there trying to shame others into participating with their delusions, but to add insult to injury, they now have to put such in a video game too. But in a way it does make sense. Maybe a work of fiction is the only place that this insane ideology can survive. After all, if people can cast magic spells and fight dragons in a gaming universe, it only stands to reason that someone doing push-ups to apologize for misgendering someone is also possible in that same gaming universe. But on that same note, it's things like this that are going to be the difference between a fun gaming universe that allows you to escape from what you dislike about your daily affairs, and a gaming universe that reminds you just how crazy the world and some of the people in it truly is. This has been a presentation of Centered Gaming on YouTube. Enjoy your life. Enjoy your gaming, and stay centered doing it. If you've enjoyed this presentation, make sure not to miss our video further exploring the issue of developers using video games as a platform for advancing their social agendas.